A few weeks ago, the morning show played host to His Majesty, Professor Epiphany Azinge Asaba of Asaba, and in the course of that interaction, the royal father extensively shared his thoughts on the number of burning issues, including the ongoing agitation for the creation of Anioma State. We're now being joined for his thoughts on the same matter, as well as the expected role of the traditional institutions in the fight against insecurity, by a man who is directly involved in that agitation for Anioma State. His Majesty Obi, Professor Louis Cheluno Nwoboshi, the Obuzo of Ibusa and chairman of Anioma State Creation Technical Committee, and how the powers and goodwill within the traditional institutions of the people can be deployed in the country in efforts to tackle insecurity. It's great to have you here on the morning show. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, of course, agitations.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Your Majesty.
Thank you, Your Majesty. The agitation for Anioma State has, well, it spanned decades. Could you currently give us an idea, as you chair the technical committee, what is fundamentally different about the push compared to the efforts that happened back in the 1980s and 1990s? Why at this time is there such a call for the creation of this state?
Well, the creation of Anioma State didn't start today, like you said. And way back, we have what they call regionalization in this country. And, oh gosh.
We can hear you, sir. Go on,
and,
sir.
Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Please go on.
Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah.
That's right. So the regionalization came, and there we are. Are you still hearing me?
We're hearing you loud and clear, sir.
Oh.
We're hearing you.
It's not working now. I don't know.
Please go on, Your Majesty. We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So we started up here. Our problem started as far back as 1939, when the regions were created. And we people from the Eastern Bloc, compared to those in the West, we are subdivided, and the bulk of us was in the East, and a small chunk was in the West. And our forefathers have been fighting that it's unfair to keep part of us in the so-called Yoruba bloc, right? And this fight has been on since 1939. So it's not a new thing. Today's state creation is a new thing, which has been superimposed upon regionalization. And that's where our confusion is. The clear part is that we belong to the Eastern Bloc, and we want to go back to the Eastern Bloc. Fortunately, the Eastern Bloc has been so divided that the bulk of us have been carved out into different states: Enugu, Anambra, Imo, and Ebonyi, or whatever. So those of us who were here, at least who had the remainder theory, that should form the sixth state, just like any other sub-region, any other bloc. All right? That's what we're agitating with. We're not controversial about it. And the agitation started since 1939, when regions were created.
All right, Your Majesty, your position is very clear, and of course I've also followed your submissions over time, and you have been very consistent on your demands, on the need to identify with the Igbo nation that you believe that Anioma State is Eastern Bloc. But then are you making this demand for Anioma State with the belief that it is only one state that will be created so that the equation can be balanced? and so that it will be the 6th state of the Southeast? Or are you thinking that even if Anioma State is created, there are other demands elsewhere? The Ibadan people in Oyo State are asking for a separate state, from Oyo State. You mentioned the fact that you belong not to the Yoruba bloc, but to the Igbo bloc. But then the Yorubas in Kogi, Yorubas in Kwara State, should they also demand for a separate state that will be closer to the Southwest, as Anioma is asking, so that you'll be closer? At what point, therefore, Your Majesty, will this agitation for state creation stop? Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
No, we agree with you. But we're saying that since 1939, when the regions were created, the northern bloc had their boundaries. The north and the west is not River Niger. The north and the east is not River Benue. Why should River Niger be the block between east and west? And in so doing, you call the eastern bloc to put some people on the west. And those people are the marooned to the west are saying, no, put us back. All right? All these things came since 1939. So it is wrong to now be mixing them up with today's current demand for states. What we're asking is correct that first one, put us there in the Eastern Bloc, then do the state creation. Again, when you are talking about the state creation, the portion of the Eastern Bloc put in the East have carved themselves into states, remaining those of us marooned to the West, which obviously will make the 6th state. That's what we're saying. I'm not arguing whether it happens in other blocks or not, but let us be equal first before we start talking about other further division. That's our content, right? Thank you very much.
Right. I want to talk about the rising insecurity in the nation, and particularly in the region. As the Obuzo of Ibusa, you're the closest authority to the people, to our understanding. It seems that the federal security apparatus is failing in terms of tapping into the traditional intelligence that you or some of your colleagues may or may not possess. How could that be better channeled in order to create communication channels to alleviate some of the issues that come with insecurity, i.e., poverty and lack of jobs, and of course feelings of marginalization?
Well, personally, in Ibuzo here, where I can speak with some authority, as far back as 2006, I established a community policing outfit. We call it Ibuzo Community Policing, right? And with that, we are very much close to the grassroots, all right? And things we are seeing outside is not the same thing as what is happening here. Here, we are very close to our people. It doesn't mean that you don't have miscreants who are causing confusion here and there, but we are working towards that. I believe that by the year 2020, the Ibuzo policing concept was also extended almost to our own entire local government, or state actually, right? And I think we should all come back and look inwards and see how we can police ourselves, not from outside and so on. So I'm not too much in politics here and there and so on, but I saw that having a community police and having a cosmopolitan police working hand in hand will bring a lot of peace to this community.
I do agree.
That's exactly what
yes.
I established for this community.
Absolutely. I do agree with you, Your Majesty, that yes. the concept of community police may, as a matter of fact, also yes. Help with the proposed state police that the president has assured mm-hmm. that he, yes. that was part of his proposal to yes. The international community. I wanted yes. to find out what your views are on the creation of state police, but I also would like to circle back a bit to the main issue of the Anioma state creation. A few weeks ago, we had on this program the Asagba of Asaba, Professor Azinge, who identifies more as Igala, whereas, but he also believes very firmly in the creation of Anioma state. And so I'm tempted to ask you that the question of identity as Igbo that you are espousing, does that conflict with other people who may be interested or who might not be opposed to having an Anioma state, but are basically saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be Igbo-centric alone, because there are other people that might be classified within the Anioma jurisdiction who might not necessarily be Igbo.
What I said earlier on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm not asking the thing that the boundary between the north and the west is not river. All right? The boundary between the north and the east is not river. The boundary between east and west should not be river. Those who adjusted the north and the south, or the north and the west and north and the east, naturally did it without incurring sort of ill will from each side. All right? So we know where the boundary of the boundary between the Igbos, the Igbo block and the Yoruba block, the Hausa block and the Fulani block, which were the intent of the regionalization. That's what we're saying. It doesn't seem that you might have a pure, I'm not advocating that, I'm just advocating that the blocks created in 1939 were in error. They should correct them first. After that, you can talk about your state creation. All right?
Who do you think will correct this?
Will
it be the national? Will it be the National Assembly?
Yes, look, correct that impasse. After that, create the states as you want it. All right? And since the west-eastern block, half of the block, has been carved out into states, then we, the remainder, should now be grouped into one state to complement our block, which is 6 states. That's what we're talking about.
Right? How do you think, Your Majesty?
Question of whether there are adulterations here and there. Naturally, some Igbos are in the rivers, isn't it?
Yes.
Some are in the north, and so on and so forth. So not necessarily, let's create the block as it was meant to be.
The technical committee that you head,
Thank you very much for what you asked.
Yeah, we appreciate you, sir. But the technical committee that you head, can you hear me, sir? Your Majesty. Your Royal Majesty, can you hear us?
I'm lost.
We can hear you. We can actually hear you. All right, I think we will have to fix the technical
take a quick break, maybe.
All right, we'll take a quick break now so that we can quickly sort the technical issue with His Royal Majesty, and we'll be right back to continue with the conversation. Okay. All right. Your Royal Majesty, I believe you can hear me now.
I can hear you from whatever source.
From Lagos, sir. So I was asking, I said the technical committee that you head, sir. How do you think that, number one, how are you going about the demands that you are making? Because there are two. You're asking that there should be a correction of the anomaly of the past and then create a state to balance up the 6 Southeast states. Who are you making these propositions to? And how do you think that can be done? Is it to the National Assembly? Is it to the President? Is it to the Governor of Delta State? Or to the Southeastern Bloc?
Saying this thing to the... we're appealing to the Senate or whoever is making the state creation now, all right? They should first of all correct that impasse. Haven't corrected it, let's go now to local government creation. If we're going to the local government creation, we now see the Eastern Bloc has already been carved up. And therefore, the remainder should be now put as the sixth state. That's what we're saying.
Right. Okay. And just to get into some details, there are voices within the current Delta state who feel that Anioma should remain in the South-South to maintain the region's oil-producing strength. What do you say to those who fear that moving to the Southeast will diminish Anioma's political influence? And also the issue of Asaba as the capital. It's the current capital of Delta State. In your committee's vision, does Asaba remain the capital of the new Anioma state? How would you navigate the logistics of sharing assets with what remains of Delta State as it is?
First of all, the experience we have in the West in Delta State is that the portion of us they call Inuani had been with the Edo. And when we divided the state now, the magnanimity of the Omonoba Eredioa, the Oba of Benin, to pull us, to extricate the Igbos who were being punished, all right, to join their brothers in the Delta. That's how we formed the new Delta State. Having formed the new Delta State, we decided on where the capital will be, and the capital will put at Asaba. Not by coaction, but by all of us. Okay? So Asaba has been the capital. And all the assets we have been having since then, we have our airport there, we have the water traffic there, we have the roads and so on and so forth. We already got this infrastructure there. Right? So, but that's not, it shouldn't be a deterrent to giving us the Anioma. It's the Anioma that we were interested in, right?
Yes.
Having said that, we now consider the other factors. Like I said, the airport is already there, the water transport is there, the road transport is there. And historically, Asaba has always been the capital. Right? And there's no reason why we should actually alter it. Thank you very much.
So, Your Majesty, Asaba will be the capital of the proposed Anioma state. I would like you to clarify, because that's part of what I asked you, sir. Will Asaba be the capital?
No, Asaba will be the capital. It has always been. Right?
Okay.
Even within this microcosm of Asaba, Okpalam and Ibuzo here, our names show that Asaba was the capital. Ahabagam. Right? So, by coincidence or by divine intervention, Asaba has always been our capital and will continue to be.
All right, so in the event that you, because I was going to ask you, how close to this reality are you? And when, if and when it eventually happens, how do you think the question of viability should be addressed? Many states are struggling at this time without federal intervention, the dole-out from the federal government. Not many states, possibly more than half of the states in Nigeria, as things currently stand, cannot survive on their IGR alone. How will Anioma State be different, Your Majesty?
Could you come again?
Oh, I said, all right, Your Majesty, I said the question of viability, if and when Anioma State is created, how will you address the question of viability? Because many of the states, as things currently stand, are struggling. Many cannot survive on their IGR alone. Will Anioma State, if and when it is created, be different?
Internal revenue, possibly. Right?
Yes, IGR.
Yes, I'm happy you said that every state is struggling. Right? And I believe we have enough resources that can go a long way to match what is happening, coming from other states too. Right? So I don't think that will be an aspect that will frighten us. We have, I don't need to enumerate it there. Look at our geography, look at our listen. We know we have natural resources, we have river resources, we have land resources, all right? We have agricultural resources, like any other state. We're not ill-equipped at all. We're sufficiently equipped to be on our own, right? If that is the fear.
And how close to this reality do you think you are? Before the elections in 2027, next year, or in the second half of President Tinubu's administration if he wins re-election? How close do you think you are to making this a reality?
Tomorrow. If you give us the state tomorrow, we shall survive.
Fair enough, Your Royal Majesty. His Royal Majesty Obi Professor Louis Cheluna Nwoboshi, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. The Obuzo of Ibusa, the chairman of the Anioma State Creation Technical Committee. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, and we do wish you the very best.
All the very best.
In your quest to have Anioma State. Thank you, Your Majesty.